Well, good morning. We hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. This is the Saturday after Christmas. We're up here in beautiful Ione. It is a gorgeous day. You know, I said this a couple of trips now. We have the best of luck sometimes on these rides. It was raining, snowing, and all kinds of conditions yesterday. And then today, when everybody's coming up to join us for a ride, it's a beautiful day. The sun's out, but it's really cold. I think it's about 27 degrees. We've got a handful of people that are coming up here to take a ride. We're gonna do a loop up Smackout Creek and come back down through like the Jim Creek, Cedar Creek area. Then we're gonna meet up with Alan and some people, and we're gonna do a second loop on the other side towards the Lost Lake Lunch Creek, and then end up at Alan's. We were supposed to do a Christmas event up here last weekend, but we ended up joining the Two Lakes, Two States ride. That was a fantastic ride of almost 100 people. I'll put a link up, check out the video up here. So we're doing our Christmas a little late up here this year, but we're still gonna have fun. So we're gonna have some Christmas stuff this evening that we're gonna do, and we'll bring you along for that. So let's get everybody lined up and get on the road. Well, we're on the forest road off of Smackout Creek. It was pretty crazy because once you start going up Smackout Pass, it gets snowy, and I mean, we hit probably over a foot of snow. And then once we got back down to Smackout Creek, the road was clear, and now on 300 here, we're barely in any snow. So it's real interesting. You get 4 seasons on this loop. That's why it's a fun one. Keith and I did this New Year's Day like 2 or 3 years ago, and we made it over this, and then we tried as a group 2 more times to make it over this, and the snow was too deep. So it'd be interesting to see if we can make it over this. Kind of a Christmas New Year's tradition we've been trying to do lately is to see if we can get over this pass before the snow gets too deep. Hasn't been too many trees so far. I think this is the second stop we've had to clear trees. Hopefully it's one of the last. So far it hasn't been too bad. 3 or 4 trees down in the road that we've needed to remove, but nothing crazy, no like bird's nests or anything like that. We are starting to get close to the top. There's barely a trace, maybe an inch or 2 of snow on the road, so shouldn't be that difficult to get over this as long as we don't hit too many more trees. Well, we made it over the ridge without too much of a problem. Probably 4 or 5 trees we had to cut down and move that were in the road, but no big deal. The snow is definitely deeper over here on this side. It's crazy. We went from a foot or 2 at Smackout, almost nothing at Smackout Creek, and now coming back down this, we're in probably a foot. And this is some powdery stuff. It's that stuff that doesn't have a base, so you just keep going down, and it's not easy to get through, but it's not too difficult either. So we're gonna head down this, and that should eventually jump us out at Jim Creek, where we're looking up to meet up with a couple friends to ride the afternoon with. sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. I was coming around this corner and it started to get really slick, and I was gonna gun it and go to the left, but I caught the curb, and rather than rolling it on the side, I just ended up dumping it down into the ditch. Hopefully it'll be easy to pull out. Well, that was pretty interesting, but that's also why you ride with friends. I was coming around that corner and just kept sliding to the right, to the right, to the right. And there was a big ditch and a little ditch. And I was almost gonna tip over and dump it sideways on into the big ditch. And I got over that, and there was no way of avoiding the little one. And so I was fairly slow at that point, and I just nosed it straight down the ditch. Caught the right front first, knocked the outside bead of it off, and but other than that, we were able to jack it up, get the tire back on, and we were back on the trail. Viewpoint. This is Medellin and Medellin Falls. The river's just right below them. It's been a beautiful day, snow-capped mountains, and my favorite time of the year, snow wheeling. Well, we had a good run today. We had 2 different people actually blow belts on this trip. We did hit some pretty good snow and was working good through some of that snow. And as you probably saw, I sent the front of my rig down a ditch. So that was pretty entertaining as well. That's the first time I've actually ever done something like that. While I was driving, I've never rolled a rig or ran off a road. So that was certainly a first for me. It was a fun day, great weather. The weather couldn't ask for anything better, except maybe a little bit warmer. It was definitely cold. All right, so we're gonna get a fire going, get a little warmed up, then we're gonna go through the Christmas adventure. It's similar to last year. You start over here at the cedar tree with a clue. It's gonna tell you where the next one is, and then you go to each one. I think there's 12 stops with a different thing at each stop. So we're gonna go through that here as it starts to get dark, and we'll let you see what it's all about.